But you don't feel like at this point that it had to do with corruption. It just had to do with maybe some neglects or mistakes.
Basically, yes.
Kind of the big news right now is the fact that the entire courthouse has been abandoned. Maybe not abandoned, but they've at least relocated.
Yes. We had the problems with the electrical conduit in the walls rusting out.
Right.
So the project finally started at the end of December.
Okay.
First part of the project was, doing the French drains around the courthouse walls, getting the water away from the walls.
Okay.
Basically what was happening, the old brick was wicking the water up, and the lime-based plaster had rusted the conduit out. So we had bare wires in the wall. So
which is not good.
They're not good. It burnt once. We don't want it to happen again.
Sure.
So they basically got almost the first floor complete.
Okay.
All the conduits been replaced. Just got to do the painting. So they fixed start on the second floor, which that first floor was my office, probation office, and the district attorney's office. Well, the district attorney's office moved to the Civic Center.
Okay.
Basically, my office moved upstairs along with probation.
All right.
So getting ready for the second floor, the district clerk moved over to the Civic Center. We set up a courtroom in the Civic Center. So once the second floor is complete, they're going to change out some lighting, do some work on the second floor, and then they'll move back. Well, the district attorney's office should be complete, the new district attorney's office, which is the old pharmacy building. So they'll be in the old pharmacy building, and the district clerk will be back up here, and
ready to go.
Ready to go.
What kind of time frame are you guys looking at for as being back in the courthouse? Everybody,
I would say 4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months. Okay.
Yes.
So 4 to 6 months. So right now, if they're needing the clerk, they need to basically find the Howard Center over here.
Yes.
And that's where everybody's kind of nestled up, if you will.
The judge's office, we moved up to the commissioner's courtroom on the third floor.
Okay.
We still have indigent care on the second floor, and the probation department is up on the third floor in one of the offices.
Okay. So they can still come here for a few services.
Yes.
They just got to go.
If they need the district attorney's office or the district clerk's office,
okay,
they have to go to the Civic Center.
Okay. And
for now.
If people have questions out there as to what's where, who can they call?
They can call the judge's office.
Okay.
At 379-5961.
5961. 379-5961. If you have a question about where an office has been relocated to, they ought to be able to take care of you there. So that's pretty cool. So 4 to 6 months, you guys should be back in here.
Yes, everything should be completed.
So about middle of summer.
Yes.
I guess. Middle of summer. Now, what's it looking like with the DA's office? How far out are we looking on that?
The contractor's saying February the 15th he should be complete, and they can move in.
Complete and done.
Complete and done.
Well, there you go. That's easy enough.
Yes.
That was a pretty quick turnaround for them.
Yes.
So, well, good deal. So the DA from now on will be located there.
Yes, that will be their permanent office.
Okay. Okay. Talk to me a little bit about some of the things going on in the community. I mean, obviously, everybody's, I don't know if nervous or anxious is the word, but specific with the biodiesel plant. Okay.
Now that's still, they're working toward, starting construction. The railroads have started working on the lines. I have seen bridge timbers going down from Bleakwood, and that was part of the rail line was weight restricted.
So that was kind of part of the signs that this thing was going to manifest
Yes.
was they were going to have to change weight restriction or adjust the weight capacity of
Yes.
the railroad. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It was, they couldn't, the rail cars would not been able to be fully loaded.
Okay.
So they was gonna have to short load all the rail cars, bringing the fuel out.
Okay.
So, just more cost efficient to rebuild the bridges.
Right.
So that's a go. They've asked the county, we worked on easements. They needed 2 more roads into the plant. So the county has worked on, with the timber companies, basically, the commissioners worked with the timber companies
Okay.
and worked out 2 extra roads going in.
Okay.
That way when the trucks, because right now there's one way in, one way out. So, during construction phase, it's just going to be a big congestion.
Right.
So we've helped them get easements to where trucks can come in, drop off at a lay down yard, and just come out a separate road. Well, also they're going to build a power plant there.
Okay.
So they will have to have 2 separate wood yards.
Okay.
A separate wood yard for the power plant and a separate wood yard for the biofuel plant, because the woods couldn't commingle due to the green scores. And
Okay.
I'm not completely understanding all that, but
Okay.
the woods can't commingle. And as far as the power plant, it can take different woods than the bioplant.
Right.
So
You can burn sweet gum out
yes.
there.
Well, too, and it's going to be wood pellet.
Okay.
So, basically a wood pellet, 100 megawatt power plant. Solely using wood for fuel.
So is there any kind of projection as to the power plant? How many employees will be employed at the power plant specifically?
Well, they're modeling it after one in Nacogdoches County.
Okay.
And when I looked up that plant, 31 employees.
So 31 employees on top of what was it?
Yeah.
Was it 200 people?
100, I wasn't at 180 something. So we're looking at over 200 jobs for Newton County.
That's 200 jobs full time.
Full time.
That's not the construction phase. They were estimating 500 during construction.
500 to 600 during construction.
And that's before the power plant.
Yes.
And so it's going to be a pretty big endeavor.
Yes.
But from what you're seeing, because they're asking for easements, and because they're already doing the rebuild on the bridges for the railroad and that
Yes.
type of thing, those are basically indicators that everything's moving forward.
Everything's moving forward. And I was even told there was, a couple of engineers on the ground already out there.
Really? Okay.
So,
Interesting. Well, that's going to be a huge, huge shift in Newton County,
yes, it will be.
for sure.
So, the county also got a grant, $13 million grant. We don't have the contract with GLO for basically a community event center.
Okay.
So it's going to be a big, huge multi-use facility.
Okay.
We don't have the final architectural drawings or anything on it, but basically, something that we can hold events.
Yeah.
Rodeos. We can hold just
All kinds of
sky's
stuff.
the limit.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
So that's and what's kind of the game plan right now? I know we had talked before where it was potentially going to be located up by the old prison.
Yes.
Okay. So if that's the case, then I'm assuming there's plenty of acreage out there.
There's plenty of acreage. We already have a sewer lift plant. There's water. So
Everything that needs to happen.
everything that needs to happen, we have the power, we have the utilities.
I got you.
So it saves a lot of money. More money could go into the actual building than, having to spend it all on utilities.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So what's the latest specific to the jail situation? We went through and did a tour here a week or so ago and saw kind of, some of the dilemmas. It's no different than what the courthouse is dealing with.
Yes.
These buildings are old.
Yes.
And these buildings go through deterioration process, and obviously everything from a structural standpoint, there's a lot of things that's depreciating, if you will.
Yes.
And but what's the update as far as the potential? Because if we're talking about an influx of people, then obviously, a local jail that can house 11 people and 3 people who are considered not functioning to the point to where they can actually make decisions for themselves, right?
Yes, and you can't let these people out on the street because they're a danger to themselves or other people. So we have to hold them waiting for a state bed available.
Right.
And so sometimes it's up to 350 days or more, a year or more, just waiting for
just to find a place,
a bed to open up for them, say like Rusk or wherever.
So to say that having 11 beds in a jail is underestimating the influx.
Yes. So basically, I've talked to, we worked out, the sheriff has worked out an agreement with Beauregard Parish to where we're housing inmates in Beauregard Parish along with Jasper County. So that's just an added cost to Newton County.
Sure.
Transportation, going and getting them for court.
Yeah.
So, and plus the housing. So I was approached by Sabine County judge.
Okay.
And about, going in with Sabine County. And I've also talked to Tyler County. So we're going to open up talks about, basically a tri-county jail.
Okay.
The 3 counties fund basically the phase 1 of the existing jail we have out here, refurbish it, refitting it, and, making a 150 bed or bigger facility for the 3 counties. So that's 50 beds available for each county if we go with 150. So, and that's the 3 counties coming together and paying for it.
Right.
But, the jail will be here in Newton, so they'll have an overflow for their inmates. Sabine County, Tyler County sends their inmates to San Jacinto County.
Okay.
They need...
Which has got to be eating up money?
Yes, it's $95 a day for them.
Wow.
So Sabine County sends theirs to Beauregard Parish also.
Okay.
So, we're all in the same boat. We don't have...
You're having to pay to house somebody somewhere else.
We don't have enough jail space.
Right.
And, with right here in Newton, we're centrally located. It's closer for Sabine County to house inmates here.
Right.
Tyler County also would be closer. So if the 3 counties could come together and form basically an agreement.
Right.
And
kind of like a partnership.
Yes, partnership to retrofit the phase 1.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be a win-win for everybody.
So I guess my question would be this, is that, there's an obvious, it seems like there's an obvious need for this type of, I hate to call it service, but this type of a resource for other counties throughout the entire region.
Yes.
Or throughout the entire state even. Because you've got folks who are looking just like Tyler County, just like Sabine, just like St. Augustine, just like everybody who doesn't have doesn't have, a lot of beds.
Yes.
Right? So, to me, I wonder if, obviously, these are just kind of preliminary talks, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to have a meeting. I'm going to get the judges, the sheriffs, and the county or district attorney, and we're going to tour the facility here. And we've been trying to get a cost from LaSalle Corrections.
Okay.
They're the ones that built the facility try to nail it down to what it's going to cost.
Right.
To retrofit and refurbish that jail.
Okay. Okay.
So as it sits now, phase 1 was 324 beds.
Okay.
But they had, I want to say 24 bed dorms. They had like 8 of those.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if that's feasible in today's jail standards.
even if you had 250 beds
Yes.
or 300 beds, you would be, in essence, you'd be able to sell those beds on a daily rate, kind of
Yes.
like everybody else is
Just
doing.
like everybody else is doing. The money, it would be money coming into Newton County.
Okay.
The jobs will be here in Newton.
Now, how many? I mean, and I know this is super preliminary, so I mean, obviously, nobody can really hold your feet to the fire on it. But how many jobs would go with something like that?
150 bed.
I mean, that's a big jail.
Yes, and with the jailers and support staff.
Yeah.
Just a preliminary guess would be 30 plus.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
Well, you have to have your jailers. You have to have people work. Just complete staff. Just basically as you would a prison.
Yeah.
Your jailers, your guards, your support staff, kitchen staff, whatever.
Now, at this point, the sheriff and the sheriff's office is based right here on the wing of the courthouse. So, and I guess it's this direction,
Yes.
which way we're sitting. But my assumption is that they would move to the prison. Is that
Yes.
Is that the case?
Yes.
Okay. So out of that, that'd be really interesting because to turn this thing from being a money drain to an actual income type of situation is.
Basically, sheriff's department. If it works out and they get to move out, we could turn the basic jail into an emergency operations center. It's connected to the courthouse.
Sure.
You've got communications already there, so it'd be just a perfect fit for you have the offices, and you could probably if someone had to stay overnight, hey, we could put them in a safe.
You got plenty of sleeping quarters, or at least 11.
It may
12.
not be comfortable, but
yeah, that's right. Bring a sleeping bag.
Bring you a cot or a mattress.
So tell me kind of your forecast or outlook for 2024, because just in our talk here, it seems like that there's a lot of promise on the end. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of promise going on.
There is some negatives.
Okay.
TDM did come back in December. We want the 1.2 million full. So
they double backed on.
Yes, they come back. We want our money.
Okay.
So offered a payment plan, but they didn't like $5 a month for.
Oh man,
that wasn't a good payment plan. They didn't like that one, but
sure.
So the first receivable that they call them receivables, but the county has to pay, which was Hurricane Ike.
Okay.
Related stuff. It was $227. So worked out a payment plan with them to pay the $227.
Okay.
In this month, 14th.
Okay.
So then in June, and they're releasing claims to all the properties that we're having to refund the money back for. There's 2 or 3 different properties that we could probably sell, and the county could sell to recoup,
to offset that loss.
So we could get, I'm estimating, $500,000 for some of these properties.
Okay.
And then that would go back to TDM, and then that would leave us, basically, 4 or 5 payments, and over the next year and a half, we'll have TDM paid off.
Wow.
Or FEMA, basically it's FEMA money.
Recap for me how we got here.
Okay. Basically, the Hurricane Ike stuff, let me see how to word this. All right, TDM has an intermediary working. The county would submit documents, paperwork. Some of the houses were pre-funded.
Okay.
That did not, due to title issues, did not get bought out.
Okay.
So, and that money just, stayed in the county. So, some of it was due to contract issues. You know, hey, we don't have a signed contract for this, or we don't have this. We don't. But you know,
Now, like a contract. When you say that, we didn't have a contract.
We didn't have a contract with, say, the title company doing the title work.
So there was no potentially. I mean, we're just
there was,
right?
But you know, since 2008, 2009, 2010, you know, everybody has changed hands. Multiple agencies, multiple people.
Right.
So you know, we can't find the documentation to where we had the contract.
Okay.
You know, there's no telling where that paperwork is.
Okay. So basically, because we can't provide the paperwork from the courthouse,
that was provided to them previously.
Okay.
You know, and you know, some of it has to do with, you know, we didn't tear the houses down in time.
Okay.
You know, basically what we tried to tell them, you know, COVID hit, shut the whole world down. You know, and then they were trying to get authorization. You know, Sabine River Authority was doing the tear down.
Right.
And for, you know, they matched 25% of the grant doing the tear down.
Right.
Well, the Sabine River Authority asked the TDM if they could use the concrete as far as riprap, you know,
yeah.
So it took a year and a half to get okay from FEMA to use the concrete.
Okay.
So, you know, and then with COVID and the waiting on the use of concrete and just everything just fell by the wayside. That's why we ended up with, there's just a lot of different circumstances, you know.
Is there any way to mitigate this moving forward?
Ensure that all the paperwork is, and we do.
Spot on?
It's spot on. And
now, is that going to require you guys to actually go into contract with contractors potentially in the county or outside the county, have those contracts in hand?
Yes.
Stating the scopes of work and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, going forward, everything we do, we have, you know, we have dedicated a room to everything grant related.
Okay.
And you know, you seen Crystal moving boxes this morning.
Right.
That's what she's doing. She's getting everything together to where it's in one spot, and until that grant's closed out, and that's one thing, you know, the grants from Hurricane Ike.
Right.
You know, the state's just now closing them out. FEMA's just now closing those projects out.
From Hurricane Ike.
From Hurricane Ike.
Wow.
So we have to keep the documentation readily available because it's already been sent.
Right.
But, you know, it's going to change hands. So many different people from the county, the state, and their contractor.
Right.
It all gets lost in the shuffle.
Wow. Okay. So there is a way to mitigate it. And you're saying that proper documentation, collection, and storage.
And retention, record retention. So we're going to have it all in one spot to where it's available if needed.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. What else is going on in the county that people need to know about?
Well, besides, you know, the big hailstorm we had.
Oh, I know, man. I know. I had a window bust out on the car and the whole 9 yards, man. I've seen those videos on like YouTube and TikTok. A guy driving through the hail. I've never experienced it.
You know, as a county, we're lucky. We got cosmetic damage to some of our roofs, but nothing major.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people had substantial hail damage to the roofs.
Sure.
Just, hey, I thank the Lord that we.
No doubt. You got through it.
Yes.
Got through it worse than it was. I mean,
yes.
it was rough. It was rough there for about 4 hours.
Yes, I seen pictures of hailstone. Now I had them at my house.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bigger than golf ball.
Oh yeah. Easy bigger than golf balls.
But I seen pictures of them 4 and 5 inch hailstones.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Let me ask you something, man. And you know, hopefully it didn't come off wrong, but you know, when you ran, it was kind of cloaked in like some mystery, and it was cloaked in kind of this tone of, you know, past administration was corrupt and this was going on and all that was going on. And I guess my question for you now is, now that you've been in a full year, do you feel like the past administration was as corrupt as you thought when you initially came in?
No.
Really?
You know, there was some mistakes. You know, I wouldn't say, you know, criminal, but you know, there was some mistakes made.
Okay.
That end up having some pretty dire consequences on the county. You know, and we even talked about, you know, and there's talk now about a forensic audit.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, because that was one of your promises in the process, is that immediately we're going to do a forensic audit.
In April of 2023, I had received a federal subpoena from the FBI. And I asked them, why me? You know, they said, well, you're the county judge, you're the custodian of records. So they wanted all documentation due, you know, to the grants 4332, 4226. So we had to scramble and get as much documentation as, you know, we could gather.
Right.
So I ended up turning over a couple computers, some hard drives, and a disk with 2 terabytes of information.
Wow.
That's a lot, you know.
That's a lot.
So, you know, I feel like doing a forensic audit now with a federal investigation going on. You know, anything we do right now would be just wasted money.
Gotcha.
So because they.
So really, I mean, honest to God, I mean, if you think about it, just in layman's terms, if the feds are already doing a major investigation on all of this data,
yes,
it would be kind of redundant, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. So it'd be redundant. Okay. Well, I was wondering if you know, what happened with that whole idea, because I mean, that was kind of really a strong push when you came in. Now, when you reference or you say the word mistakes were made by the past administrations, obviously there were some mistakes made, because we wouldn't be owing FEMA if we had the proper documentation, right?
Yes.
So far as documentation retention, that's obviously a mistake.
Yes. But
what do you feel like? I mean, you know, it really kind of got ugly there for a little while.
Well, you know, the grant administrator that was handling all the grants,
right?
You know, left.
Okay.
And you know,
he left before you were sworn in.
Yeah. Well, he left in 2020.
Okay.
So the county appointed or hired a lady to do the grants.
Okay.
And you know, I think some things may have been pushed through before they were ready.
Okay.
Before the documentation was complete, you know, and just some missteps, you know, and things didn't get handled in a timely manner as far as, you know, some of the tear downs. And,
right.
You know, it just, you know, when you got a full plate, it's easy to miss something.
No doubt.
And, you know, just basically simple mistakes that end up costing the county a lot of money.
Gotcha. But you don't feel like at this point that it had to do with corruption. It just had to do with maybe some neglects or mistakes.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
You know,
I mean, because
and I may be proven wrong on that.
Sure. But I mean, you know, to me, whenever I talk about corruption or I think about corruption, you know, I start, you know, I automatically, unfortunately, go to Joe Biden's son over in Ukraine and this type of deal, and that there's actual plotting and scheming. I think that's one of the mistakes that we make as laymen out here, or as citizens. We make that mistake to correlate those two things together, that there's like this bigger conspiracy theory that's actually in place that's not really in place. It's just happened to be dominoes falling in certain directions.
You know, I think some of it was decisions that were made at the time. And, you know, a lot of times you rely on the best information you have.
Right.
You know, and it may not be the best information.
Right.
Or it may not be the right information.
Right.
But if you follow through with it, you know, and
You're just where you're at.
You're stuck with the consequences.
Yeah, and it's kind of the humorous part about when they basically make the statement about relying on the intelligence, right? And then you find out it wasn't that intelligent after all.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, well, that's an interesting, 12 to 13, 14 months here into it. That's an interesting observation, I think. And so, is there anything else you want to put out here to the public?
No, we got
a lot of cool things happening.
Yeah, we got a lot of things happening. It's going to be a tight year for us.
Okay.
But, as far as, the county come out, before everything was, the county had bought was
Right.
put in debt services.
Okay.
So, and the way the county finances work, debt services comes off, you get your tax levy. Well, debt services comes off the top.
Okay.
Then the commissioners get 15% of what's left.
Okay.
And then the county gets the rest to run the county, payroll, run every office,
Right.
keep the county rolling.
Gotcha.
So none of the debt we had qualified as debt service. According to the comptroller's office, debt services, is bonded debt. Has to be voted on by the taxpayers in Newton County.
Okay.
So everything the county had was base collateral debt. The equipment, the
Right. Collateralized
vehicles.
monies. Yeah.
So we didn't certify any debt. So basically, right now the county is debt free. But
Outside of the $1.5 million we owe FEMA.
yeah,
Right.
other than that, but basically like the and the equipment,
Yeah.
that got pushed back to where it should be coming from.
Okay.
So
it was just a misunderstanding as to what was.
well, they changed the laws back in probably 2018.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it's not.
and then
like
they
we
had some exceptions to the rule due to Hurricane Laura.
Right.
So
So there's a lot of juggling.
so
It's
that
kind of
right-
like a moving target is what's presented out here. And
so
then
that opportunity is passed. So
Yeah.
nothing we had, we had almost $1 million in debt, bonded. Well, it wasn't bonded because it wasn't voted on by the taxpayer.
Right.
So with that, the commissioners got a little bit more,
Right.
but the county got almost $1 million more as far as operations.
Okay.
So that helped the county out tremendously.
So if we're forecasting this year into 2025, what are we kind of having to, as a county, we're kind of having to tighten up our belt loops here?
We'll tighten up a little bit, but we're going to be good.
You're gonna be good?
We didn't. We at the end of the year we had probably close to $1 million that rolled over.
Right.
So, but that's probably going to be used on paying FEMA.
Right.
So,
right.
I think we're going to be okay.
We're going to be okay.
This money's going to. We paid off the Cottonwoods. Made the last payment, and
So that's done.
that's done.
Hallelujah.
Yes. So we paid off the Cottonwood suit. So we paid the FEMA suit off.
Well, between those two suits, I mean, to be honest with you, and then the influx of people here over the next couple of years, it could really change the game for
Yes.
the tax base of Newton County.
Yes.
So
if once the biofuel plant starts, and I have 100% optimism that it is going to
now,
come to a head.
right.
We'll see the population of Newton County increase. More houses, more
Right.
stores.
Right. So if I understand this correctly, and you just correct me where I'm wrong, but initially I heard that BlackRock was kind of the group who was funding this thing.
Yes, and that's what I had heard too.
Okay, so if BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, these three kind of run the world, the globe or the flat earth, whichever one you subscribe to. But BlackRock is no joke.
Yes.
I mean, and they're working through, I'd heard at one point, Citibank or some city,
City something.
some sort of banking,
Yes.
which they probably own. And then it was, I don't know if this group won the contract for it or how it's worked out or whatever, but the Koch group is supposed to be doing the construction phase.
Yes, I heard the Koch group was doing the engineering and the
Okay.
construction.
Okay.
But you know, the last press release he put out, you know, this project was going before the Department of Energy's clean energy. I have to go back and read it, but you know, and it takes a lot for a project to get that much of federal attention.
Right.
So
Very, very cool. It's going to be interesting just to see what kind of a change this actually brings to the county.
and with the paper mill closing in Orange,
right?
You know, it'd be a big boost to the logging industry.
No doubt.
To get the power plant and the biofuels going here.
No doubt.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it just help everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Help us get out of our non-debt situation.
Yes.
And help move us on towards some level of prosperity on some level, you know?
Yes.
I mean, you know, will we ever, you know, I've heard people say, you know, when is Newton actually going to do something? And if this comes in, the prison gets reactivated and reestablished as a tri-county jail.
Yes.
I mean, those are some pretty good moves to get this thing off and running.
Yeah.
And so,
You know, and there's a couple other businesses is in the early stages looking at Newton County, and hopefully some of that comes to fruition.
yeah,
And we could draw in a couple other businesses.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I you know, although there are some hurdles to get over on the funding side of things, you know, hopefully we can do our part, you know, as the county or as county leadership to make sure and mitigate any kind of documentation loss moving forward, because
Yes.
man, that's got to be huge.
You know, some people say, you know, don't give them a tax abatement. Don't you know, but you
Talking
know,
about new businesses coming in.
yes.
Yeah.
But you look, I drove by it the other night. Jasper County wouldn't give Temple the tax abatement for their extruder plant. So they just moved right across the river and put it in Hardin County.
Done.
Done. Hardin County gave them a tax break.
Yeah.
You know, so that plant's been there, 15 years? So
Yeah.
once the tax exemption went, look at the money they have received.
Yeah.
The OSB plant,
Yeah.
you know, it was going to be built in Newton County, but Jasper County offered a better incentive package.
Yeah.
So they moved it across the county line, and it's where it's at now.
Well,
So,
see, and the thing I don't think a lot of people calculate or think about is the fact that if the county provides a good package for a company to come to the area, you got to think about all the collateral
Yes.
benefit that
Yes.
comes. It's like this, you know. I mean, I don't know if this story is true, but you know, you hear stories out here that, you know, back in so and so, Walmart was going to come here to Newton. And you know, the forefathers here in Newton County, you know, there was either going to do the jail, or there's going to build a jail, or there's going to put Walmart in. And Walmart was going to employ like 5 or 10 people less. And I'm sitting there going, okay, now we see what Walmart is before it came to Jasper, you know. And it ended up going to Jasper. We got the jail. I don't know. Have you ever heard that story?
I've never heard that one, but
I mean,
yeah.
there's obviously stories out here on the street that's just a bunch of crap. But
yeah, but you know, you look at you know, those stores like Walmart. And,
Yeah.
you know, they look at their population close to the store.
Yeah.
You know, and I could see them moving to Jasper over Newton because, you know, your population is higher in
Right.
Jasper.
right.
You know, so
Yeah, just the demographics are different.
yes.
You know, but I mean, back in the late '70s,
Yeah, we did have a lot, you
it
know.
was a different conversation.
Yes.
So I mean, you know, so to me, I don't think people, you know, whenever they hear you're giving incentives for businesses to come here, it's almost like in a way they don't calculate in the collateral benefit of basically giving them a break on one side to actually bring traffic in. I mean, because you got to think about how much traffic is going to be going down here at the biodiesel plant.
Yes.
How many of these truck drivers are going to need fuel? How many of these truck drivers are going to need something to eat? How many of the truck drivers are going to be needing whatever?
Yes.
Some sort of mechanical deal or anything like that.
You take that OSB plant, it's been there 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So you give them a 5-year tax abatement to start off with.
That's a drop in the bucket.
Drop in the bucket to what Jasper County has received, the years that they paid.
Just as a result of the people who work there traveling through to the overall tax, to the sales tax and stuff like that. Now, I know, we talked about that any?
No, and I'm glad you brought that up. We have, we've got a petition that we're going to put it back before the court.
Okay.
To create a countywide emergency services district, for EMS.
Okay.
So basically, we can't do an ESD based on sales tax only.
Okay.
So we have to get it voter approved on a 0% ad valorem tax, which is 0% property tax.
Okay.
And we can never collect property tax on that ESD. So, basically we're overlapping all the other ESD districts, that they're already collecting the property tax. So we can never collect property tax on this ESD.
Okay.
But, once it gets approved, when it'll be on the ballot in November of this year.
Okay.
So we couldn't do it in March due to state laws. You can only do it on an odd year in the March.
Well, this is a perfect year to do it. You got a presidential election, so we have a lot of people come out.
Yes.
Tell me what the benefits are to what you're referring to.
Okay. Now, if we get it created, and then March of 2025, we'll go back on the ballot and ask for a 2% sales tax.
Okay.
And that 2%, and it's be countywide. The 2% will help fund an ambulance service for Newton County.
Okay.
Which, basically, if you spend $1, you'll spend 2 cents more.
Right.
And everybody's already paying it online.
Okay.
Because, say like the 75966 zip code.
Right.
The city of Newton has a 2% sales tax.
Okay.
So everything ordered offline, if you have 75966, even if you don't live in the city, you're still getting charged sales tax.
Right.
All right. Orange County covers all of Deweyville. Anytime you order anything online, you're paying sales tax in Orange County.
Okay.
Jasper County, ESD over in Buna covers everything over in Devil's Pocket and that area down there. So that part of Newton County, the sales tax is going to the Jasper County.
Okay.
All right. Kirbyville and Call is fixed to do the same thing for an ESD. So Kirbyville covers a lot of the Blakewood area, and Call covers Trout Creek, Old Salem. So all tax dollars collected from that zip code will go to Jasper County. So if we create it and get the sales tax for Newton County, they're basically, the comptroller's office will geo-fence off Newton County, and every zip code or every address that pays the online sales tax or anything you buy in the stores, anybody coming through in the county, anybody coming through, basically going to the ATV park, going to the lake, if they stop at the store, buy ice, water, anything, that would help fund the ambulance service for Newton County,
which is much needed.
Yes,
much needed.
Okay.
So when can they look to see that?
Okay, we'll start holding public meetings probably in May.
Okay.
Try to educate everybody on what we're trying to do.
Okay.
And then it'll be on the ballot in November to create the emergency services district, with a 0% property tax.
Okay.
And like I said, we have to do that to get it created.
Gotcha.
And then from there, if it gets approved there, we'll go on the ballot in March.
And ask for a 2%.
Ask for a 2% sales tax.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Well, listen, I really appreciate you taking time sitting down with me and getting some of this stuff ironed out. You guys are supposed to be having, is there some sort of public hearing, public meeting, something along those lines coming up. Is that the case? Did I hear
Yes.
about that?
Yes, and that's going to be on the ambulance service. I mean, on the ESD.
Okay.
Educating people
Specifically on the ESD.
on that. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think what you're referring to is we're going to have a countywide department head meeting,
Okay.
and then we're discuss
Whatever's going on.
whatever's going on, what people have concerns about and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Well, Judge Cochran, I appreciate you taking time, man. Appreciate you bringing some insight. Look like we got some hope on the horizon.
And I think Newton County is on the verge of exploding, growing.
Yeah.
So
Hey, we'll see.
we'll see.
Hopefully we can take care of our paper documents and move them forward and move forward toward the jail.
Well, the paper documents are all going to be stored downstairs.
Yeah, that's right.
We got office
Didn't they
space.
burn upstairs last time or something? Wasn't there some paper documents upstairs?
Well, a lot of the documents burnt, but and we have documents stored everywhere. Had a lot of documents in the old hospital.
Right.
When the pipe busted last winter,
Yeah.
it destroyed thousands of documents.
Wow.
It just soaked them with water.
Wow.
So
And it doesn't take long for old documentation with water
Yeah.
to turn to nothing.
you have a file box full of documents
Yeah.
that gets soaking wet. They're all stuck together.
Yeah.